Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Of All Trades with Nolan Robinson. Right now, I am in a different location. I'm in my sister's bedroom as opposed to my living room, but it looks the same. Thank you for joining us. I have a great guest on the show today who is also another cast member from High School Musical, the series. I have Matt Cornett. He plays EJ in the show, one of my favorite characters. If you don't watch the show, you should. He also plays Blake and Nickelodeon's Game Shakers, and we're so lucky to have him on today. So Matt, would you please come in?
I'm just gonna be a voice. No, I'm just
There
kidding.
you are.
What's up?
Hey, how are you? Thank you for coming on the show today. How you feeling?
Yeah, of course. I'm feeling great. Thanks for having me. I'm excited. This will be fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. We were just talking a bit before just about what I've been doing during quarantine. What have you been up to?
Well, I have basically watched all of Disney Plus, all of Netflix, all of YouTube. My eyes are almost burned out of my head. No, I actually the first like week of it, I like binge watched all of the Pixar films, and so I
All of
love
them.
Pixar.
All of them from
I
like.
shouldn't say all of them. I've
Okay.
I've seen most of them now. I
Okay.
still I still haven't watched Brave. I still haven't watched
Wait, you've never seen Brave?
I've never seen Brave.
That came out almost a decade
I
ago.
know. I
Yeah,
know.
and you have
I
the
started
time.
watching I started watching it the other day and ended up having to help my brother with something. He was working on his truck outside doing something. He's like, "Hey, can you help me?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, okay." So I haven't gotten back to that yet, but I will. I will. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, of the ones you've seen, which one is your favorite? There's a
Oh my
right answer to
gosh.
this, by the way.
Oh, well, okay. So I feel like the right answer, I don't know. My personal favorite is
Yeah.
Cars.
Really?
I
Wow.
love Cars.
I've
And
never heard that. You're the first person to say
well, it's
Cars.
also because I'm like a diehard Cars fan. Not like Cars the movie, but like Cars in general. Like I love
Yeah.
Cars.
Yeah, I mean, you were
Um,
just helping your brother fix his.
you're not wrong. So, but is the fan favorite usually Toy Story?
Yeah, it's usually Toy Story. Mine is okay. I say that there's a right answer, but I always switch between two. Finding Nemo
Oh
or
my gosh, of
Wally.
course.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
see, okay, so when I watched Wally, like when I was a kid, how long ago did Wally come out? I don't even
That
remember. It's
was
been a while.
2008, so like
Yeah,
12 years ago.
yeah. So I was what, 10 when it came out?
Yeah.
When it came out, I watched it when I was a kid, I remember, and it terrified me because I was terrified of like the world getting to that point.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so, and like honestly, it still kind of freaks me out, like watching it and being like, our world could be that one day if like we don't take care of it, you know?
You see, you were a very intellectual 10-year-old. I was scared of it only because nobody talked until like the last part of the movie. And I had only seen cartoons where people were talking. And I'm like, how am I supposed to connect to these robots? They're not speaking English. So that's why I was afraid of the movie. But I think your reason is
That's
better than mine.
hilarious.
Yeah, but you said you watched the entirety of Disney Plus. I'm assuming you've seen your show, yeah?
Um, yes. Yeah, I've actually watched the show almost every episode twice now because I watched it
Wow.
all like on my own when they came out. And then my family wanted to like watch it with me. And
Hmm.
so we all watched it together. So I've seen I think the last two are the only two I didn't watch with them. And that
Oh, the
was,
last one's the best one.
I know, I know. And the only reason I didn't watch that wasn't recently that I watched it with them. It was before, quarantine and all that. So
Right.
I think I just like went back to California or something, and didn't end up finishing it with them. But yeah, I've seen all the episodes. I definitely think 9 and 10 are the best by
Yeah.
far. Um, Personally, Homecoming might be my personal favorite episode
Hmm.
just because there's so many things that happened in that episode that while we were filming it, I mean, Joshua Bassett, who plays Ricky in the show,
Yeah.
him and I both, we were on set filming the moment where uh, Seb, played by Joe Serafini, walks into the banquet, or
Yeah, right,
the
yeah.
gym, yeah.
Mhm.
So when he walks in and Carlos thinks, he got stood up, whatever, we were all standing there watching it, and Josh and I both, when they called cut, there was something about that take, and that just seemed specifically that, like, you could feel it to your core, and
Mm.
him and I both, when they called cut, we looked at each other and we were both sobbing. We both were like, if that is not the take they use, and it is the take they ended up using. But yeah, I don't know, I just, that episode in general, there's so much great stuff for Seb and Carlos in general, which, like, Seblos for life.
Yeah,
and
I love
and
them. And it was also the episode where Born to Be Brave was heard for the
yeah, oh
first
my
time.
gosh, which is
And
one of
that
the
song
most
is
amazing
so
songs.
beautiful. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was listening, so guilty pleasure. I listen to the soundtrack a lot because, I'm a music theater person and I love
Yeah.
that show so much. And I listened to the acoustic version of the song, which features all of you, correct?
uh yes, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
And it was beautiful, just, it's being proud of who you are and who you were born
Hmm.
as, which is, born to be brave.
Right,
So
right,
if
right.
you haven't seen that episode, audience, you really have to.
You
I
should go
encourage
watch
the
it.
entire season. If you don't have time for that, watch that episode in particular.
You got
Yeah,
time
so
for it. You're quarantined. Go watch the show.
yeah, exactly. Audience, you're not going anywhere. So after this, go watch the show. And then so Larry was on the show the other day and
Yeah.
we talked about his path to getting on the show. Do you want to talk a bit about yours?
Yeah. So way back in the day,
Way
I
back in the
started
day.
way back in the day. I started acting in theater in school, actually, and that was back in middle school, and basically decided that I wanted to do acting as, like, my job if it were possible. And
Mhm.
so, my mom and I moved out to California, tried to give it a go. We said, we'll give it 2 years. If nothing substantial happens, we'll rethink it and, rework it and whatever. Met my manager and agent and came out there, and I was lucky enough, to work on a few different shows. And, still one of my favorite shows that I've worked on is Bella and the Bulldogs, which was a Nickelodeon show way
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
Yeah, where there was the football team had the girl quarterback, which was amazing. Um, and yeah, so that kind of started it all for me. And then, I've been lucky enough to kind of do jobs here and there, and now work my way up to getting to audition for this show, which, first of all, had such a huge fan base just because of the title alone.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, at first it was kind of one of those things where I was a little skeptical, because it was like, I want to make sure that it's done right, because I personally was a fan of the movies. So, you don't want to do the name wrong. But the second that I read the script, I knew that the show was going to be good. Um, and, I was lucky enough to get to go through an audition and end up booking the role, and reading with some of the other characters during chemistry reads and stuff like that. And just meeting everybody and reading with everybody and through table reads and everything, you can just feel the chemistry everyone has, the love and passion everyone has, not only for the movies, the show, our show in general, acting in general, and just each other. It truly is a special bond that everyone has. And it's the one of my favorite sets I've gotten the pleasure to work on.
Wow. I was telling Larry that the show, so I'm a very emotional person. And I can't remember which episode it was. It was like towards the later half of the season, but your character realizes that he may not be the kindest person in the world.
Mhm.
So he starts a vlog in order to show people, the goodness that he's doing. And I'm like,
Yes.
oh my, what is EJ doing? But when he received those comments at the end of the episode where it's like, no, this guy sucks. It's,
Yeah.
it's just, let's cancel him. That really, it broke my heart. I'm like,
Hmm.
I want EJ to succeed. I love this character. So how was it playing that role, because I think he is the Sharpay of this series, and Sharpay is, of course, the antagonist, but she's also a friend to
People love
everyone
her,
in the show. Yeah,
and yeah,
people love
exactly,
her. Yeah,
exactly.
so, and I think that's the same with your character. So talk about that for a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think in general, I mean, all the characters and character development and just everything from Tim and the writing staff, Tim Federle, who created the show, and the writing staff is just incredible. The things they've done with every character. Um, but EJ in particular is such a fun guy to play. He has so many layers because he truly is a good dude. Like he really is. He's got a great heart. He cares with every bit of his being. Um, but the thing about EJ that, makes him come off as this quote unquote bad guy or a mean dude or self-absorbed, which, he might be a little self-absorbed,
Yeah.
but the great thing is like he truly does care. But in that he gets himself in trouble because he doesn't want to make a fool out of himself, as well as he's going to stand up for other people. And in that, he's going to come across as this big mean dude because if something's going on with Nene, he's going to stand up for her and be like, hey, yo, like, chill, and maybe go over the top with it. And then people are like, bro, like, you're good. But yeah, I mean, EJ is a good dude, and he wants people to like him. He really does. He has, the self love for himself, yes, but he also has plenty of insecurities. And I think that's another big reason that he is the way he is, because he does have so many insecurities that he wants to come across as this perfect boy who is perfect and has everything lined up for his life, and comes from a wealthy family and has great social life and great school life and great everything, and he's the water polo dude. He just wants to come across as perfect because he knows he's not perfect. And I think that's a great lesson for everybody, is something that EJ starts to learn throughout the show, is you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be this perfect whole being. Like, be you, be unique, be yourself. That is what makes you unique, is being yourself. And having little imperfections or little flaws or whatever, that makes you you, and that makes you unique. And I think that's something that everybody can take away. Me personally, I know myself.
That was beautiful. There were, without spoiling it, because I don't know how many of the audience members have seen up to
Right.
the finale, but there's one thing your character does for another character at the very end,
Mm-hmm.
which just completely blew my mind. I'm like, EJ did that? That doesn't seem like an EJ thing to do.
Yeah.
And then you talk about, standing up for people, especially your
Right.
friends. And that moment just filled me with so much joy. I'm like, yes, people aren't always what we think they are, especially if
Right.
we don't know them. It's like, people see EJ and, it's like you said, wealthy family, and he's the water polo guy. But there's so much more to him than meets the eye.
Mm-hmm.
And can you talk a bit about what parts of you are in the character? One thing Larry and I chatted about was how much of the characters are made from your own personalities
Yeah.
and what you give to the role.
Yep.
So what did you give to the role of EJ?
Yeah, and I think for me personally, a huge thing that I can relate, to EJ, and something I feel like I tried to put into it, is the fact that I'm a very, like you said about yourself, I'm a very emotional person as well, and I'm also a very loving person, and I just like, I want everyone to be happy and just love themselves and love the environment they're in. And I care with every ounce of my being. And I think that's something that I tried to put, into EJ and give EJ. And like I said, it's a balancing act with EJ, because there's he's got to be the, quote unquote antagonist at times, but also not be so much of a jerk that people hate him. So
Yeah.
I think that was the good thing, is that I could throw in there, is that little bit of, you see that he truly cares, and you see that he does something wrong, and then he's like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done that. And it's like, it's almost like he does something before he thinks about it, because
Mm.
it just comes out of him, and he acts before he thinks, or he speaks before he thinks, or um yeah, I mean, he just, things come out of him at times that he knows is wrong, but it just comes out, and then after the fact he's like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. I really shouldn't have said that. And then he tries to apologize, and it makes it worse. And,
Yeah. I'm actually quite glad that you have been able to analyze your character so much. And yeah, you're an actor and it's our jobs to do that. But to be able to see parts of yourself in him,
mhm,
to inform the arc of the character is amazing.
yeah.
Can you talk a bit about the legacy that you guys have on High School Musical now? I was talking to Larry about the legacy of the original trilogy and you guys adding to that, but the fan base is immense and so many people have
hmm
watched the show. What has that done to you in your own
Yeah.
life?
Yeah. I mean, personally, I want to push this show along with everybody else, so far, because I feel like our show has such a great message to people. And I think there's so much representation on our show as well, between um, just the different, I mean, all around representation. I mean, we have LGBTQ plus community, and just so many different varieties of people, and the groupings and the friendships and the love triangles and relationships in the show. It's great, and the greatest thing I think about our show is there is something for everybody, and everybody, there's going to be a character that everybody in the world can relate to.
Mm,
um, and yeah, I mean, just all around, our show, I feel like, has a great message that I want the world to hear. And that, no matter who you are, no matter what you are doing or what you are, you have a place and you have home in your peers and your friends, and you are safe. And, in our show specifically, the theater community is something that is a safe space, and
yeah,
something that I know a lot of people, bag on theater kids, and, bag on theater nerds. And, it's frustrating at times, because theater people are the most loving people and caring people, and they are just family. They
mhm,
truly are family. Everybody belongs. There's no judging. There's no anything. You are just a family, and you are a whole group of one. And I think that's, a good message, just kind of all around in every aspect of life.
yeah, totally. Can you talk a bit about the family that you've gained while being on the show? Because you're with
Yeah,
each other for 6 months, so of course, something is formed.
yeah, of course. I truly consider all, like, the entire cast family to me now. They're much more than just friends. And I every time I talk to Kate Reinders, who plays Miss Jen, I literally, every single time, I call her Mama Kate. She's like a second mother to me. Um, but just everybody is just family. And the greatest thing, I think, one of the funniest things, before we started filming season one, they put us all in a giant conference room around this big table for like 2 weeks. And they would bring us into work every single day and call us in, and we would just sit around a conference table and just hang out. And the reason we were there is we were doing, hair and makeup tests, camera tests, like
Mhm.
wardrobe stuff. Like, we had to be there for that reason. But most of the time, we were just sitting around a conference table playing games, singing songs, watching stuff, chilling, just hanging out. And it was great, because we got that chemistry and that friendship and that familyhood. Familyhood, is that a word? Sure. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, I think so.
we'll make it work.
We'll pretend
Uh,
it's a word right now.
we'll pretend it's a word. But we, it created that bond that I think comes across on screen. It looks like these kids have known each other for years and years and years, whereas in, reality, before we started filming, we only knew each other for a few months.
Mhm.
So, I
And
think
you
that was a
can't tell.
great
No
thing.
one can tell that.
Exactly, yeah. And it's great, and it was just an instant bond. And these people will be in my life for the rest of my life. I truly love every single one of them, and couldn't feel more blessed to have this opportunity and have them.
Don't make me cry, Matt. How so I know you guys halted production. Have you been able to stay in touch with them while you're all in isolation?
Yeah, so we not only just like text here and there, we're all in a group chat, so we all like text each other, here and there in the group chat, but we also do like weekly Zoom meetings just
Mm.
to kind of stay in touch and check in and just see where everything's at and where everybody's at, how everyone's feeling. And then just to talk and like see what we're doing during quarantine and see what
Yeah.
we're doing just to like get through the days. And also just counting down to when we go back to film because we're also
Mhm.
ready to get back to work and get back to making the show. But yeah, I mean, we just kind of keep in touch through that and also just through texts and calls occasionally just to check in.
Yeah, I'm sure that checking in keeps you encouraged
Oh
throughout
yeah.
this. What are some other ways that you've tried to stay hopeful and stay encouraged during this, since it's a challenge that none of us have
Hmm.
experienced before?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is just knowing that things will get better. We will get through this, and not to sound cliche, but we're all in this together. Everybody's experiencing the
That
exact
sounds so
same thing.
familiar. Is that a
It
song or
sounds
something?
so weirdly familiar, right? um I mean, like you said, nobody on this planet has experienced what we're experiencing right now, so we all have that together, and we are all working together to get through this. And yeah, I mean, I think it's just a matter of staying hopeful, knowing that things will get back to normal. And even myself get caught up in, well, are things ever going to be back to normal? Like, how long is this going to take? How whatever. But it's just a matter of not trying not to get caught up in it. And also, I think for me personally, just keeping my mind occupied by
Hmm.
watching stuff or just doing stuff, whether it's taking my dog on a walk or going and riding the bike around the neighborhood. Obviously don't want to like get out and around people too much just to
Yeah.
keep your social distancing. But yeah, I think a big thing is keeping my mind occupied because I know if I just sit on the couch and sit there and think, my mind starts racing and
Yeah.
starts creating scenarios. And so a huge part of it is just staying occupied.
Yeah, I know that for many artists, we all have the desire to create,
Yeah.
and it's kind of hard to do what we normally do when we can't go outside to do it. So, during this time, felt like you couldn't create?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a huge part of my life, not only just like for creating, but just my life in general is being social and being with friends and,
Hmm.
just being out with people. Because that alone gets me creative and gets my, juices flowing just because everybody that I know basically where I live is an entertainer or a singer or an actor or whatever. So everyone's creative people. And so just when I'm around those people, it kind of inspires me. I mean, good Lord, Olivia Rodrigo, who plays Nini on our
Yeah.
weekly Zoom meetings, it's like I've written 3 more songs this week. I've written 6 more songs this week, and it's like it just motivates you to want to do more.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's definitely tough. It's definitely tough not getting out and being able to go out and be around the usual people you're used to being with. And especially there are definitely certain people, that inspire you more than others. Like some of my best friends and my girlfriend and everyone, like it just there's certain people that when you're around them, it just makes you feel good
Yeah.
and makes you feel better and makes you want to do stuff. Like I said, I mean, Josh is another one. Everyone on my cast is so insanely talented, like that. Anytime I talk to any of them, it's like, "What are you doing?" "Oh, well, I did this week." It's like, "Oh, I should probably do something too."
I mean, but even with that, I'm sure it's, the other way around as well. So you're just as talented as, everyone in the cast, and, you can do things that they can't, and vice versa. So I'm sure that
Right,
you
right, right.
inspire them just as much as they inspire you. And so you said you moved to Los Angeles to start your career. You moved from Arkansas, yeah?
Yeah, from Arkansas.
Okay, so so I'm in a class called Designing Your Life,
Mhm.
where we treat our life as if it's a design project in order to truly, craft the life that we want. And we were reading a book yesterday, and one of the chapters was about failure and learning to become friends with failure. And super quick segue into this question. um there is, I think he's a professor or a scientist or something, but whenever he teaches people how to juggle, he doesn't teach them how to juggle. He says throw the balls up and let them fall, just let them hit the ground. Do that several times until it becomes like, a habit. You just throw the balls up and let them fall. And he said he does that because by letting the balls drop multiple times allows someone to see that failure is a natural part of the process, that letting the balls fall shouldn't be anything out of the ordinary, but it's just a natural step into, receiving the goal in the end, which is to be able to juggle. As an actor, there are lots of failures and rejections that we face in life. So you moved, with your mom to Los Angeles, like a decade ago. Did you, along that path, you can talk about your failures, and you can also, did you ever did they ever phase you? Have you ever reached a point where got a rejection and you said, no, this is one too many, I just want to give up?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, the acting business is very tough at times because you are gonna get 1,000 no's before you get that one yes. But like a lot of things, that one yes is enough to just keep you pushing forward and keep you pushing forward. But there's
Yeah.
definitely been times where there were certain roles that I wanted more than others, and
Mhm.
it was the one you get so close to, or the one that
Yeah.
you're just so dedicated to, that you then hear that you're not moving forward, or you didn't book it, or whatever. And it kind of gives you a little punch in the gut sometimes. And there's definitely been times where I've been like, you know what, I'm done. I'm done. Like, but it's a matter of just, I mean, persevering. And something, if it's something you love doing enough, um, you can do it. You truly can. And the
Mhm.
greatest thing, and something I've used before, um, when somebody tells you no, you can't do something, or hey, this role's not for you, or you have a teacher tell you can't do something, or a friend tell you can't do something. Use that as motivation to be like, no, you know what, I can.
Mhm.
I will do it, and I'll show you that I can do it. And it's a like great reason. I mean, there's been multiple times that when I first started acting, that I hadn't had a lot of experience, and there were casting directors that I auditioned for, and they were like, you know what, he's just a little bit green, it's he's just starting. And it's frustrating at the time because it's like, well, no, I know I can do this, I know I can do this. But
Mhm.
it's just using that and like, okay, I'm going to work harder. I'm going to get more experience. I'm going to do better. And I want to go back and show them I am ready for this. And, plenty of times there's been times where I've gone back and gone in front of the same casting director and then booked a role through them. And so it's just I think it's a great learning thing to just use those no's and those, rejections as fuel to the fire to just want to motivate you and push you forward even harder.
Totally. Did you think that the role of EJ was another one of those roles where you'd, get to a certain point and then, they'd call you back and say, I'm sorry, but you're no longer in consideration for this? Did you ever think that it would, lead to you being cast in the show?
Yeah, funny enough, I actually originally auditioned for Ricky, and
Oh, really? Wow.
yeah, so I auditioned for Ricky, and I think I know I for sure went and did a callback for it, and then I got the call from my agent saying that I wasn't moving forward, and I was so bummed, like
Mm.
so bummed. And I think it was literally probably 3 months later that I finally got the call that they wanted me to audition for EJ. And by that point, I had, almost forgotten about, the whole Ricky thing. And I went back in and I was like, you know what? This is a musical show. I basically learned to sing through this show. Like I had not done a lot of music before this show. I've played
Yeah.
guitar for, a few years, but I started basically singing on this show. I sang in the shower, sang in the car, but I basically started singing on this show. So that was another kind of insecurity of mine that, like I said, everybody in the cast is so insanely talented, that, even the audition process, they were like, we want somebody with a really good voice. And, so it was definitely hard because it was like, well, I don't have as much experience as the other people. I don't have as much experience as everybody else I see auditioning. So yeah, there were definitely times where I was like, I'm probably not going to get this. I'm probably not going to get this. But it's a matter of, trying to just, rather than looking at it in a negative mindset of being like, nope, I'm not going to get this, try to find the positive in it. And that's something that I try to do in my daily life, is just, it's very easy to sit and complain about stuff. It's very
Mhm.
easy. But I think whenever you try to look for the positive in things, it will help not only your mental health, but just also your daily like life. Um, and so, yeah, I mean, it was just like, you know what? I don't have quite as much experience as them, but I'll book this and it will get me that experience. It will get me on the show. It will get me, the experience to work with these people who can teach me things that they know. And
Mhm.
that's something throughout the show that, I mean, dancing's another thing that I started doing because of the show. And good Lord, Sophia Wiley is one of the most insane dancers I've ever met in my life. And, I get to do dance lessons with everybody, and her being one of them. And we have great choreographers. But, just learning from her, on the dancing aspect of things, and then, learning music stuff from Josh and Olivia and everyone else who's all so amazing. It's just been a great experience to have them teach me, and then, certain other aspects that, um, I might have a little bit more experience in that I can show them.
That's awesome. And a lot of what you said, you reminded me of something that not only performers fall into, but pretty much anyone, if there are lots of talented people in whatever field you go into, and that is, falling into the comparison trap, or
Mm,
the, do you know what the imposter syndrome is?
I don't know.
It's feeling like you don't belong around the other people that you're around. It's like when I got into college, I felt like an imposter. I did the same work that everyone else did to get in. I got in just like
Hmm.
them, but for some reason I felt like I didn't belong there. And a lot of that had to do with me comparing myself to
Hmm.
everyone around me. So, what are some, and well, one, have you ever done that in your career? And two, if yes, what are some ways you get away from that comparison? Because you spoke a lot about it when you worked in the audition process for the show.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, definitely in the audition process for the show, I felt that. I felt like, even though I was auditioning just like everybody else, I felt like I did not have the right to be there because I wasn't as experienced in music, as experienced in dancing. Um, so I mean, there were guys there auditioning for EJ that were professional singers. And in, the audition notes, it said they want somebody who's a very good singer. And so that, when people walk in and you can hear them through the walls singing in the next room, it's like, oh goodness.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's tough, but I think a great thing is having your peers around you to kind of lift you up and surround yourself with positive people that make you feel better. And the cast of the show, they're all such amazing people, not only just like talented people, but like they're just good-hearted people in general, that anytime anyone's feeling any kind of, negativity, or they're feeling like that, I mean, I personally have gone to a few of the different cast members and like, talk to them and being like, you know what, I don't feel so great about this, I don't feel so great about that. They're all really really great about just like kind of trying to lift you up and be like, no dude, like you're doing great, like this is amazing, you're amazing, and I think a huge part is just surrounding yourself with positive people that find ways to lift you up.
Was it hard to ask for help? Because I know it's not an easy thing to do for lots of
Yeah.
people, including myself.
Yeah, and it took a while for me to like, I want to say, almost feel comfortable enough to go to them and ask for help. But I think it's just a matter of uh, knowing that they love you and knowing that they care, um, and just getting past that point of being afraid and being like, you know what, these people are my family. I'm just going to ask for help. I mean, I know that they're going to help, you know, like I know they want to. And, you know, most of your people around you that are your true friends and are your best friends, they want the best for you. They want,
Mhm.
I mean, they have your best interest in mind. So, you know, they're going to do what they can to help you. And so I think it's just a matter of being like kind of biting the bullet and just getting through there and finally just asking. It's definitely tough because it was tough for me at first.
Yeah. And this is random, but I have to say I love listening to A Billion Sorries. It's such a crazy song and I love it so much. And I'm like, if I ever need to apologize to someone, I'm just gonna sing them this. No, better yet, I'll just play your version so that
Just
way
play it.
I just have to
That
sit
was
there and let you
that was
sing.
such a fun song to do. It really was.
Yeah.
And I think what made it so fun is just like that there wasn't really any, I mean, obviously there was care put into it and I cared about it, but
Mhm.
it could be a little bit more silly and goofy because
Yeah.
it was EJ writing a
Yeah, you had
song
fun with it.
to
Yeah.
apologize.
Yeah, and
So
the
I think it
lyrics
was.
were just so funny because I'm like, yeah, these aren't the best rhymes, but that's
Yeah.
the point, and you just had so much fun with it.
Yeah,
When I had
exactly.
when I had watched it for the first time, I still remember needing to rewind it several times because I'm like, this is crazy. I love the show. I think that was the first moment where I'm like, yeah, this show is a keeper. Yeah,
That's funny.
it's gonna have its own legacy.
And yeah, and I think it kind of goes back to showing that EJ truly cares because he put all of his heart into trying to write that song. Yeah, it may not be the best, but he put all of his heart into it. And I mean, I love the song. I might be biased. I think it's a great song, but yeah, no, I mean, you know, he put enough care and love into it to just have fun with it, and it was a great song to perform for the show.
Yeah, I mean, it's a banger. I'm sure if somebody made a club mix to it, it would be
Oh my gosh.
insane.
I would love, please, somebody if you're watching this, make a club mix to it.
Yes,
I've
please do
had
it.
multiple people ask me to do like an acoustic version of it.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna like try to learn it on guitar and just
Yeah,
do an acoustic version of it. I think that would be amazing.
that would be beautiful. And about a week ago, I watched a video of you and some other cast members recording a music video to Bang Bang. Uh, how did that happen? Whose idea was it? I know Josh directed it. But all right, so just walk us through.
So I don't know if there's multiple out there. I know we filmed multiple songs. We have
Hmm.
multiple music videos that we did. I'm not sure if they're all out there yet, but I know there's multiple, and stay tuned for season 2. We'll have more. But I don't remember whose idea what it was. I know Josh like was very adamant about doing it. It may have been Frankie or Larry. I don't remember. I'm gonna give everyone credit. I know
Okay.
Josh was very adamant about it. And he directed it and
Yeah.
filmed it, which like it was like it was fantastically hilarious.
Hmm.
Um, it was so much fun, and it was kind of like a spur of the moment thing. There's so many times with the first one we did, and I don't even remember what the song was. I know we did more than just Bang Bang though, but they're always just like spur of the moment things where like in the hair and makeup trailer every day we just jam to music while we're getting ready,
Hmm.
and a lot of times we'll get done and we'll be like, oh my gosh, that's a fantastic song, let's go record a music video to it.
Yeah.
And so we'll do it around like base camp or around the school or around set or whatever. And yeah, a lot of times they're just spur of the moment but so much fun and just hilarious.
Yeah, it goes back to that chemistry that you were talking about earlier, with you sitting around the table. I'm like, these actors really love each other on the
Yeah,
screen and off the screen. And it just gave me so much joy watching it because I'm like, this is what theater kids do. This is
it's
amazing.
fantastic. Yeah. And like I have been lucky enough to work on a lot of really fun shows and really fun sets. But I think this is one of the most fun shows, and just like like chill sets to work on because we have fun in between every take. We have fun in between every day, in between every scene, in between like lunch. Like we're just always goofing off and having fun, and I think that's kind of the joy. Obviously, filming and doing our job is like super fun, but I think it's that stuff that makes this even more fun. Is just
Yeah.
being able to be with like some of your best friends and goof off and have fun and enjoy your time. And then that helps in the show bring the chemistry together even more and bring
Yeah.
relationships together even more in the show. So yeah, but that stuff's so much fun to do.
Yeah, and I want to do a quick little game
Okay.
before I let you go. So these will probably be hard to answer, but I just want to see. So we have the
Okay.
original High School Musical trilogy, 1, 2, and 3.
Yes.
I'm going to ask you which song is your favorite in all 3 movies. So High School Musical 1, number 1
Okay.
song, best of the best.
Get your head in the game.
Okay. No
I
bias, of
love
course.
I love basketball, so like I
Yeah.
remember when that movie came out and like it was just a basketball song. I was like, absolutely.
Yeah. Did you try to teach yourself the routine?
I didn't, because I wasn't quite a dancer at that point. I hadn't even thought about dancing at that point.
Mhm.
I was like, I think that was, when did that come out? 2008, 2006, 2000.
2005. 2006,
Really?
2006. Yeah.
2006, right? Okay.
Yeah. Because there
Still,
was one
I
each
mean,
year,
still,
6,
I
7,
was,
8.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I was still only 8. So yeah, that was long before I started acting. That was like a few years before I started acting. So, uh, yeah, it was before my performance days.
All right, dope. So High School Musical 2, favorite song.
Favorite song from High School Musical 2. I know everybody would say this, but probably Fabulous.
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's a great song. That's a
Yeah.
great song. And it's just
Even
like they're at a pool. It's
the
like
cinematography
summertime.
about that
The
was
cinematography
amazing.
is great.
Yeah,
It's
she's like
fantastic.
in a glass with blue juice and ice. I'm like,
Like,
How
I
did they
just
do
want to
that?"
be there and be laying on a beach chair in front of a pool at some kind of resort in the middle of summer with a blue drink. Yeah.
All right, and High School Musical 3.
Scream by far.
I
By far.
forgot about that song. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I just like
Yeah.
it because it's so intense. Because
Yeah,
like
I think
he's like running
that
down the
is
stair
the
staircase
bet
with the
on it.
lightning.
Yeah, that's the
Yes.
bet on it of the
Yep.
third one.
Yep.
And then where he's in the wall, the hallway, and then the
And
wall is
it's
just there.
turning. Yep.
Yeah, it's turning.
Yep.
That blew my mind as an 8-year-old. All right,
It
now
still
of
blows my mind, and I'm 21.
so get your head in the game or fabulous. Which one?
Between those two.
Yeah.
Um. Oh my gosh, I'm probably gonna have to pick "Get Your Head in the Game." I still jam to that song.
All right. All right. And the inevitable question: get your head in the game or scream?
I think I'm gonna have to pick "Get Your Head in the Game" because "Scream" is great, but like "Get Your Head in the Game," even though it's like a basketball-y song, like
Yeah.
I could still jam to that song in the car and it'll put me in a
Yeah.
great mood. So get your head in the game.
Yeah. And like Scream is more angsty and Get Your Head in the Game is more like
Yes.
I guess it is still angsty, but it's more upbeat angsty.
Ooh, although, you know what? You said bet on it. Now I'm starting to think like I'm not gonna stop. I'm not gonna stop till I get my shot.
Yeah. Have you
Yeah.
seen the video where it's the scene from the movie, but Let It Go from Frozen is put in the
Yes. Oh
background?
my gosh. And they
It's
match up
insane and they
perfect.
match up
They match up
perfectly.
perfectly. It's
I'm
crazy.
like, I know, it's insane. I'm like, this is too perfect. I don't know how this ended up happening like
It
it did, but I watch it whenever I'm having a bad day because it's just so perfect.
can't put
Audience,
you in
if
a
you
bad
haven't
mood.
it no, it can't. It can actually uplift your spirits to an
It's like a
exponential
convertible. You
level.
can't have a bad day in a convertible. You can't have a bad day watching Bet on It to Frozen.
I mean, but in a if it rained.
Well, true. Very true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, let's pretend we're in I don't know, it's Hawaii or something, or it's a place
So
where it
Southern
doesn't rain
California,
much.
it
Southern
hardly ever rains
California, it
there.
hardly have LA, yeah.
LA, it hardly rains there.
Yeah, well, thanks for indulging me in that little game. That was fun.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Yeah, well, thanks so much for coming on today, for talking to me, getting to chat about a bit about you and the show, giving some great advice for everyone watching. Before we sign off, is there any other piece of advice you want to share or a shout out? One of my last guests did a shout out.
Oh, shout outs.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot, I'll just shout out everyone. I'll just shout out. Actually, you know what's funny? So,
Yeah.
all whenever you post this, I'll send it to my grandma, and she's gonna love this. Ninny,
Oh,
I love you. Thanks for watching.
I
I
hope you
call my
heard that,
grandma
Nanny.
Ninny. It's amazing. She's been Ninny since I was a baby. So,
Oh.
but a good piece of advice I will say, just kind of in life in general, especially like if you're in the industry, like acting, singing, music, dancing, whatever. But just in life in general, be yourself, be unique. Don't try to like conform to anyone's standards. Don't
Mm,
try to like be somebody you're not for somebody else.
mm.
Don't try to put on a facade of yourself. Just be yourself. That's what makes you unique, and people will love you. People will love you for you. If they don't love you for you, they're not meant to be in your life.
Woo! Wow, I need all of that on, I don't know, a throw pillow or something. Yeah, well, that's a great note to end on. Matt, thank you so much. It's been Of All Trades with Nolan Robinson and Matt Cornett. Be kind, choose joy, and tell someone how much you love them. I love you, Matt. Bye, everybody.